Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 is wrapping up, and this has been the best year in the Switch's lifetime. This year for the Switch is insane. Every single month, multiple amazing games are coming out, and I never had time to catch up. So in this video, we're going to go over the top 20 Nintendo Switch games of 2023. Let's go and get right into it. I really had to narrow it down to 20 games. But there was more. Like, this year was so freaking good. And there was a theme this year. There was amazing first party, like, new games, and a bunch of amazing remasters and remakes. So we're going to go over the top 20 Switch games of 2023. Before we get started, if you could, please hit a like and subscribe. It means the world to me, and we're getting very, very close to 6,000 subscribers. I know it's not a lot to bigger channels, but to me, it really means the world. And let's go and get right into this video. The first game we got to talk about immediately is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. This is the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it was everything I thought it was going to be and more. This game is so freaking massive. You have the regular world, you have the sky area, you have the underground, you have all the little side quests, and the story was so freaking good. It was almost overwhelming. Just being honest, this game was like kind of too much at first. I had to really break it down in sections, but it was a perfect follow-up to Breath of the Wild, and easily one of the greatest video games of all time ever created. Such an amazing Zelda game, such an amazing continuance, and I'm very happy we got to experience this. Nintendo really knocked it out of the park this year with their main staples like Zelda and also Mario. Super Mario Wonder really took me by surprise. When I first seen the trailer, I thought, okay, this is just a wackier 2D Mario, and that's cool because I was kind of burnt out on regular 2D Mario games, but when I played this game, it really was better than I expected it was. It really was every single level being innovative somehow and feeling magical and really feeling the wonder. And one of the reasons why this game was so good is because they didn't have a deadline to develop it, and it really shows. And yeah, man, what an amazing Mario game. 2023 has been so good, and the year started off with a bang. Metroid Prime Remastered. This is now the standard for remasters because I don't even know if I could call this a remaster. This is a full-on remake from the ground up. They absolutely knocked this one out of the park. This is the greatest Metroid game ever, in my opinion. And like I said, it sets the standard moving forward for future remakes and remasters. This is already one of the highest ranked Switch games of all time. And the weirdest thing about this is they priced this game full price at $40. Nintendo never drops new games for $40. So I was really confused by that, but it's a good thing. But it's just such a good freaking game, such a good way to start this year. If you have not played this game, you're doing yourself a disservice. The next game we have to talk about is Pikmin 4, and it had been 10 years since we had a brand new Pikmin game. We had Pikmin 3 Deluxe, I think, on the Switch, but it wasn't a new Pikmin game. Pikmin 4 was the perfect follow-up. This really got a lot of new fans into the series. It's just a perfect game, like it really is. If you're a fan of Pikmin games, there's not a flaw I can find in this game. And not even that, they added a puppy to the game. And anytime you add a puppy to a video game, it is a perfect 10 out of 10. This really makes me excited for the future of Pikmin, and I'm excited to see where the series will go. Yeah, I think this solidifies Pikmin as like a Nintendo staple now. I think it's here to stay for a long time. A game that recently just came out and did everything perfectly is Super Mario RPG. And I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. I think this is a remake of a Super Nintendo game if I'm not mistaken. But it's a faithful remake, just everything better. The story's still good, the mechanics are still good, the graphics are still good. All they did is improve everything like 100%. And I hope we get more Nintendo franchises in an RPG setting because I think it's just such a neat concept that just works so well. And I like these little like offset Nintendo games. Like I'm a big fan of the Mario and Rabbids games, and Super Mario RPG kind of gives me the same vibe. But yeah, it's just cool to see Nintendo going back and remaking older classics better because maybe a lot of people didn't get to experience them back in the day. And yeah, man, this one really is perfect. I don't even know what to say about Dave the Diver. This game like captures the essence of gaming somehow. It's almost two games in one. Like, you have to dive down and explore, and you have all these mysteries going on under the water, but then at night you run like a sushi restaurant and have like a restaurant management game all in one, and it doesn't feel like two games. It really feels like just this one big story that you're experiencing. And I love the art style of this game. I love the music. I love the gameplay. This was only on Steam, I think, for the longest time. So when this came to the Switch, I was very, very excited that everybody is going to get to experience it now. And this game is full price at $20. This is such a great adventure for 20 bucks. To be honest, I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's just a phenomenal freaking game that I hope everybody gets a chance to experience. Another remake that we got this year is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and this is a remake of a Nintendo DS game that just was such a gem back in the day, and now that it's on the Switch, I think it has found its home. I think it just works so well on the Switch. It's such a cool concept where you're a ghost and you can manipulate objects around you to like prevent crimes and kind of influence what's going on around you. And like I said earlier, I think it truly is just a gem. It's one of those games that you look back on and think, man, what a cool concept. I don't know who thought it up. I don't know how it works, but it's really special. And I'm glad we get to experience it like on the Switch updated. And the music in this, I think they had like an actual composer. The music goes so hard. So if you haven't played this game yet and you've been thinking about it, this is your sign to check this one out. So a game that I was 100% sure this was not going to ever make it to the Switch, even though it was announced for it. And if it did come to the Switch, it was going to be the cloud version. And it turns out I was wrong about both, is Hogwarts Legacy. Some way, somehow they got this game to run on the Switch. Yes, the graphics aren't as good as a PS5. And I think one of the things they did to get this on the Switch is have like loading screens. So maybe in some spots where on other consoles it would be open world, you have like a small loading screen or something, which is no problem at all. But it actually runs fantastic on the Switch. And it really is impressive how the Switch can handle games like this. I think this is the perfect Harry Potter experience, especially as a Harry Potter fan. It's really cool because it takes place like 100 or 200 years ago before the advance of the actual movies and books. So you kind of feel like you're leading up to that. And I'm excited to see where the series can go from here because I hope it sticks around for a long time and I hope we continue to get games made just like this. So another game that's just so cool to have on the Switch is Red Dead Redemption. I'm a huge fan of Red Dead Redemption 2, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. So I never got to play this one. I didn't understand how this all started. When federal agents threaten his family, former outlaw John Marston is forced to hunt down the gang of criminals he once called friends. You get to live life as an outlaw. Like, you get to experience the Wild West. And what's better than that? Like, you get to just be crazy and have fun and ride horses and shoot people. And now you get to do that on the Switch. And I'm very happy that this game finally found a home on Nintendo Switch. So one of the best looking RPGs I think on the Switch period now is Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars tells the story of two children of Solstice who combine the powers of the sun and the moon to perform eclipse magic. This game really is so charming and special. You just feel like a good, happy feeling when you play something like this. Like, you feel like you're on a grand adventure. And the art style is timeless in my opinion. The music is amazing. The gameplay is great. And it's just a perfect little RPG. And I'm very, very happy that we have this on the Switch now because it makes me happy to see that people are still interested in games like this. And not everything has to be like a 3D open world action adventure. Games like this can tell a story just as well, and sometimes even better. The next game kind of feels similar to me, and that's Star Ocean: The Second Story R. And everything I said about the previous game, I guess I kind of feel the same for this game. Like, the graphics, the art style, the gameplay, the music, the mechanics, they're just so good. And I'm glad that they're coming back and being remade or remastered or whatever you even want to call them, because the adventures are still worth playing, like the old ones, but getting them updated with better graphics and gameplay and just better sound, all it does is take that adventure to the next level. And yeah, I hope older games continue to get remade and remastered like this because their adventures worth playing. It's so funny, like, I put together this list and I didn't realize that I put like so many similar games in order, but the next game, I guess, is kind of like the same vibe. I'm talking about Octopath Traveler 2. Octopath Traveler 2 was the perfect follow-up to the first game. And yeah, everything I said about the previous ones, the same here. The art style, the gameplay, the mechanics, the music, everything is just timeless. They're just so special. I like this game because there's multiple like characters here and multiple kind of like mini stories going on, and then they intertwine. And this is another game that I hope we continue to see as a series. The first one was so special. The second one was a perfect follow-up. I cannot wait to get a third one and have the perfect trilogy. And it's cool to see a modern game, like a modern IP, become classics like in front of your eyes. So if you haven't had a chance to play this, you definitely need to check it out. So a game that I think is a remake, I'm not sure, is Vampire Survivors. This is a cool little game where you just have to survive like hordes of enemies for either 30 minutes or an hour or something. And on the surface level, it seems like a very basic game, but it's something that gets very in-depth, and you really have to strategize and figure out how you're going to survive. And this is a really cool game because not only is it super fun and super engaging, but this is full priced at $5. So I hope we see more and more games get made that have a lower price tag, because things are expensive now. I don't see stuff getting any cheaper, and it's cool to be able to play games that, yes, don't have the best graphics or maybe gameplay, but they're still super fun and engaging, and they just have a lower price entry. Because I think gaming should be accessible to people with kind of all budgets. And yeah, this game is awesome. So we have to talk about another remake. Another one? How could this be? I don't know, but there's so many, but they're so good. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. This game came out and it kind of went under the radar, and I'm not sure why. Like, it didn't rank super high on like Metacritic. I think like a 75 or 78, but if you got a chance to play this, which there is a demo and you could check it out for free, it's actually really freaking good. Maybe because coming from like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which is kind of 3D open world sandbox game, to this game, which is 2D, maybe it didn't translate as well to some people, but I think this game is freaking awesome. If I'm not mistaken, this is a remake of a Nintendo Wii game, and it just looks and plays amazing. I became a Kirby fan last year with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so I'm super late to the party, but now that I am a Kirby fan, I'm playing any and every Kirby game I can get, and they're just so freaking fun, dude. Just, if you just want to have a good, fun adventure where you feel happy when you're done playing, pick up a Kirby game. It's going to do the job every time. And yeah, this game is amazing. Check it out if you can. So yet another remake, I guess. I think it's like 2 games in one, is Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. And this game was held like indefinitely. It just was not coming out due to conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And then Nintendo finally said, well, I don't think this game has anything to do with that, and we're going to release it. And since it was held so long and then finally released out of like nowhere, I kind of feel like it went under the radar. But I'm a huge fan of tactical games. I love them. Play the original ones on the DS all the time. And this is just a better version of those. Like, they're just really freaking good. And unfortunately, like I said, I think they went under the radar. But these are some of the best games that came out this year. It just shows that Nintendo understands that they made some really good games back in the day that a lot of people didn't get to experience. And what they're doing is bringing them back to the modern times for more people to experience. And if you get the chance to play them, you're going to understand why they're so good. So another awesome game we got at the beginning of the year is Fire Emblem Engage. And in my opinion, this is the greatest Fire Emblem game ever made, and I absolutely love the art style of this game. Like, I love the colors they went with. The gameplay is so freaking good. It's such a badass adventure. In the war against the Fell Dragon, 4 kingdoms work together with heroes from around the world to seal away this great evil. 1,000 years later, the seal is weakened and the Fell Dragon is about to reawaken. It is up to you to take on this adventure. Yeah, man, I don't understand how we got this many great Switch games this year, but we did. So a game that was a surprise to me is Persona 5 Tactica. Like, I didn't know anything about this game. I just knew we had Persona 3 and 4 come, and then Persona 5, and then I thought we were waiting for Persona 6, and they're like, no, we have a Persona 5 Tactica coming out. And I was like, what the hell is that? But now I know, and now it's on this list. This game is so cool, man. The Persona series is one of the greatest series in gaming history, in my opinion. It is the standard for RPGs, and I like when they do these little like offsets like Persona 5 Strikers and now Persona 5 Tactica. It just adds to the lore, adds to the experience, and they really are building a really cool universe here. And like I said, this game was a surprise to me, but after checking it out and getting some feedback from my audience and seeing other people enjoy it and just seeing how good it was, it easily had to make this list. And this game just came out like a couple weeks ago, I think. So a game that I really enjoyed this year that kind of went under the radar is Have a Nice Death. And just off the graphics, you're going to think like, is this kind of like a Hollow Knight clone or something? But it's not anything like that at all. Have a Nice Death is a 2D action roguelike where you play as an overworked death who employees have run rampant, completely throwing off the balance of souls and his vacation. In order to restore order, you'll have to grab your trusty scythe and show your employees who's boss. It's such a cool concept, and it has this really engaging gameplay loop, and you just want to keep getting new weapons and figuring out how to play through this game. And yeah, I just absolutely love everything about this game. I think I talked about it when it came out, and I was one of the few people who did, but it easily made this list. So Bayonetta is one of Nintendo's most beloved series. But this year we got Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, and it really is such a cool origin story. Like, I really like learning more about characters that you just kind of experience one day and you don't really understand where they came from, but they're cool and the games are awesome. But I do really like learning the lore of games because it makes them more engaging, and I think this game was really, really cool. I think it did the job perfectly. Bayonetta is a niche series, so this is even more niche, I guess, because you wouldn't play this if you never played a Bayonetta game. But this game is a gem, it really is. I really love the art style they went with. It's kind of like water paint, and I think it works really well because it kind of makes games timeless, because it feels like they could have been made 10 years ago, or it feels like they could have been made 10 years in the future. But either way, it really is cool. And yeah, I really hope Nintendo continues to do these like little backstories on some of their favorite characters. Like, imagine getting a Mario and Luigi's origin story. Fingers crossed, right? So a series that I got into this year was Blasphemous. So once playing that, I was looking for more, and then randomly out of nowhere, like a week later, Blasphemous 2 came out. This is the definition of a badass game. Everything about it being dark and gritty and just so serious, it just makes you feel like you're playing something that you shouldn't be playing, or experiencing something that you shouldn't experience. I really like how we're getting these games that feel inspired by older stuff, just in modern times. I think I really fell in love with like pixelated gameplay this year, and more of like less is more kind of stuff, because when you're just playing with the gameplay and the story, you really get engaged in it. You're not being wowed by all like these crazy 3D open world and graphics, but then there's nothing to do in those games. Games like this, the writing and the gameplay really shine, and I absolutely love this game, so this easily made this list. Ladies and gentlemen, there was 20 Switch games that came out this year that are amazing. In my opinion, these are the top 20 Switch games that came out in 2023, but I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite Switch games that came out this year? Also, if you'd like to join the community, there's links down below to Instagram and Discord, so yeah, join it if you would like. But you guys know me, I'll see you soon with a new video. Peace out.